Welcome to our channel. I'm Crystal Thorpe.
And I'm Alwyn Thorpe.
And together we're Totally Thorpe, discussing money and marriage.
So once upon a time, you couldn't go on IG or Twitter without seeing someone posting or even mentioning these so-called red flags. You know, people were sharing what they consider to be red flags, and although we had plenty of memes and comments and things that make people laugh and all them something.
And guess what? You remember the red flag that we saw? Well, the meme that we saw about having pineapple on your pizza. That one is like, wait, that's a red flag? I don't understand.
But you see, the situation is that you have way more serious things that people need to look out for and often don't even consider when going into a new relationship. Now, today we'll be sharing our thoughts and having an expert discuss this very hot topic.
For sure. I mean, dating can be an exciting and fun experience, but it can also be very challenging. Being able to spot and identify good and bad qualities isn't always easy, especially when people, you know, that subscribe to fake it until you make it approach, which this approach, it can be difficult, really difficult to navigate whether or not you want this person to, you want to go the next level with this person. Right? And the reality is that there's a lot of pressure being put on persons to figure out who is the right one and, finding the right person.
Yeah, people generally associate like a good relationship, a good healthy relationship with certain things that they can see, like mutual respect, communication, and trust.
Yeah, for sure.
But there are things that don't come up right away, and you have to be aware of them.
For sure. Can you think back to when you were, having your Friday night flings?
Hey, I don't know what you're talking about.
Your Friday night flings, man.
Wrong person.
But on a serious note, though, can you think back to when you were genuinely dating? What were some of the non-negotiables, and what were some of the things that you said, you know what, this is a big turn off. It's a no for me.
Well, I think that my views may get me in trouble nowadays.
What?
Them nowadays, woman, are going to crucify me.
No, man, you say it. You have to say it. Like, I want to hear.
Can't cook. Think you pay your pretty looks.
Yeah. My woman African cook. Like, if you couldn't cook, that was a huge red flag for me. I had this concept where I saw my mother. My mother was a hard working woman. She still is, actually. Mommy, big up high. And she came home, she made sure that I had a meal, daddy had a meal, she had meal. I like that. Them thing there.
So the first thing I think about is your belly.
Of course. Duh.
Oh Lord.
Every woman know that the way, or should know that the way to a man's heart is through his belly.
Okay.
Anyways, but that kind of goes into my next one because I like a woman with drive. That's a big one for me. I don't like lazy woman. Lazy.
Yeah.
Laziness. Lazy woman cannot come into my life. They're not allowed in my life.
Well,
and that's one of the reasons why I'm so attracted to you. Because you go get it.
Yes.
You're a go getter.
Yes.
So I'm very attracted to that. But you want to know the biggest red flag?
Which one?
That make all the woman just get blocked off.
More here.
Expecting me or expecting any man to fund them lifestyle.
Oh.
No, worse when you just met. You have some woman that said, just because me name man and them name woman, that I must fund their lifestyle and spend all of my money on them like there's no tomorrow. That's a huge red flag.
Yeah.
Huge red flag. But what are some red flags for you?
Well, for me, for one, not given the opportunity to speak. Ladies, don't you just hate when a man just, him just talk about himself, it's all about him non-stop. Everything is about him, right? And another one for me is I hate when a person have wandering eyes. Like, we're out and you're just looking all over the place. Like, who are you looking at? Who are you looking at? Like, I don't understand. But I don't understand it. Right? Another one for me, right, is this one. I did not see this red flag when I started dating.
Where's that one?
But a man that does not put his phone down.
Yeah.
Right? I did not see this one. And I mean, I'm happy Dr. De Silva is going to come today because I really, really want to ask her how I deal with this now.
Kettle black. Pot,
how do I deal with this situation?
Pot. pot.
What's that?
But anyways, you have a point still. You have a point.
No, you know, I hate when people just not, you know, they're on their phone and they don't put down their phone for you to at least have that conversation with them. So I definitely need help with that. We need to go to the counselor to get some help with that.
She's coming.
She's coming, so we're gonna get help, yes? Okay, awesome. So another one for me,
Hold
right?
on, what are you talking about? Another one? You're not done?
No,
Wow.
I have another one. Well, another one for me is that when a guy speak, do I believe him? Does his word match his actions? Which boils down to trust. And of course, trust has to be built, and it has to be built from day one. If I'm speaking to you and my gut is telling me that there's something sketchy about you and everything that comes out of your mouth, I can't believe it, for me that's a red flag and I'm not going any further with you.
Yeah, well, remember most of the things, like when you're dating,
Yeah.
you're not going to be able to fully detect all of these things all at once. You're not going to see all the good things and all the bad things being presented to you all at once. Matter of fact, some of these things you don't see until you're actually married.
That's true, because look at our situation.
But
Our situation is that I'm just seeing this thing where he doesn't put his phone down. Sometimes when we're talking, he's like, you can talk, man, talk, I listen. But that is something that comes out after the marriage season. Do you know what I mean? When everything deep and you're in love and now you have to work
you're right,
on it,
because
you
me
have
I
to
see
work
that
on
too. Me I see that too. Pot I call cake black. Pot.
whatever.
But anyways,
yes, those things can happen.
anyways, some people can be a good, hide things and fake
True,
it
they
until
can
they
hide
make
it.
it, as they mentioned.
Yeah.
Now, to help us to get a better understanding of the topic, we've invited the lovely Dr. Karen De Silva to join us, who is a Christian counseling psychologist, to give us some advice on how to detect these red flags.
Yes. Welcome, Dr. De Silva. We're so happy to have her here today with us. So tell us a little bit about yourself and just your background in relationship counseling.
Okay, well, I'm in counseling now for approximately 20 years.
Wow.
In 2016, I completed my doctorate in Christian counseling with Andersonville Theological Seminary, where I specialized in marriage and family counseling.
Okay.
So I do indeed deal with persons, both individuals and couples. Persons who are already in marriage and maybe need some help in getting over any challenges they could be having.
Right.
Persons who are preparing for marriage and would like to know more about each other to make that decision as to whether the person they are considering is really the appropriate person.
Right. So question, it's not just married couples but singles as well.
Indeed, because there are times when an individual in preparing to go into relationships might need to know more about themselves.
Okay.
They might need to heal from wounds of the past.
Yes.
So all of these things are important.
Okay.
Okay, so how would you define what a red flag is?
Well, for me, I would use the analogy with sports. Red cards, red flags. In sports, those are normally given when an individual, a player, breaches some rule in the particular game or sport they're playing.
Okay.
And we also know that red tends to connote, danger.
Right.
So for an individual in a relationship, you're looking for the behaviors, the attitudes of your partner that is creating some form of possible abuse or will erode the long-term relationship from being a healthy one.
Okay. I never heard that analogy before with sports, but it makes perfect sense.
Yes.
So tell me, at what stage should we start to look out for these red flags?
You know, for me, Alwyn, I honestly believe you begin to look for red flags from day one.
Okay.
You as an individual planning to go into a relationship need to know what it is you're prepared to accept and what it is you're not going to accept. So from day one, you as an individual need to know what you're looking for in your partner.
Okay. So what would you say are some of the common red flags that you can look out for, especially when you're dating with the intention to get married?
Well, red flags can be very diverse.
Okay.
Because some red flags have cultural connotations, but I want us to look at what I consider more universal in terms of red flag. First and foremost, does the person share your values?
Number
Are they
one.
thinking along the same line as you as it concerns marriage, as it concerns having children, where you're going to send your children to school? Are they honest? Are they persons of integrity? You know, so your value system, which you should know, and you look for someone who will line up with your value system. So that for me would be the first situation that you would look at. Another situation you would look at is if the person tends to be obsessive. Are they sticking to you like glue? I mean, for a person in love, you might think initially that this is a good thing. But
Yes.
as you grow in the relationship, you want to have your space. You want to be able to breathe, have your friends,
Yes.
visit people. So you don't want your partner to be always on you.
Right,
So
right.
obsessiveness would be the second. And then you're looking also for persons who tend to be controlling. Right?
That's a big one.
Persons who are always possessive, want to tell you who to speak to, when to go to different places.
Right.
They want to control the time you have on the phone with your friends, how often you visit your family members. That again could appear to be loving initially.
Right,
But
right.
then you recognize as you go in the relationship that you're being alienated from the people you care about.
Wow.
So that controlling behavior is not acceptable. Unfair blaming. You know, persons who seem not to be able to take responsibility for their own action. And they find every reason to blame you instead of taking accountability. In today's world, we tend to look at that as gaslighting.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
I read about that.
So unpredictability is another factor that would be a red flag. You just can't predict where your partner will be or will do, or what they will say sometimes, how they will behave to a situation. They're just unstable.
Right, right.
It gives you the idea that you should be thinking, is this person mentally healthy? Well, are they possibly abusing substance? You know, because there is normally something happening when persons are unpredictable in their behaviors and attitudes.
Right.
I get you.
And finally, another one I would consider is the secretiveness about their past. You want somebody who is willing to share with you what their past was like, what
Right.
they learned from their past mistakes, what their successes were, what it is they are opening, what is they are open to
Right,
in terms
right,
of their
right.
future.
Makes
you.
sense.
So if they're not willing to share, then yeah, I would consider that a red flag.
Definitely, definitely.
I heard some things there that, you know, could definitely really be you could really mistake them as love, and I think
Right.
but it was the obsessiveness and possessiveness.
Right. Possessiveness in particular, you need to be careful about, because persons who turn out to be so possessive tend to be abusive. Because they would have alienated you from the persons you cared about, because
Yeah.
they just want to dominate your time.
Wow, wow.
And so this is really a big red flag.
So it's definitely, we want to definitely look out for those things. I think even more than the others,
Right, because
you can really mistake those as love.
As love,
As
yeah.
love, yes,
Right,
yes.
right.
And you know, as I mentioned, persons who are possessive tend to be abusive. And unfortunately, from a cultural perspective, in Jamaica we have this thing: if you don't love me,
You don't, or
beat
beat,
me.
or
Or if you don't
yes,
beat me,
I've
you
heard
don't love
that.
me.
Yes,
You
I've
understand?
heard that one.
And so we have to be careful about these nuances.
Yes.
And that is why I strongly believe a person needs to be healthy in themselves
Yeah.
before they begin a relationship.
Okay. So, Dr. De Silva, what if you really, really, really love this person, right? Or you really like this person? What do you do if this person have some overwhelming red flags? Do you just quit, or do you seek counseling?
Okay. Well, this is a subjective response. I think that the individual would be best suited if they could engage counseling at the onset to
Right.
see if they can work through the changes, if the individual is willing to change, or if they can arrive at a compromise. That's an important word in
Compromise.
relationships.
Yes.
Compromise.
Yes.
If this is not possible and you know that this is something that you would not be able to live with, this is not a value that you want, it's not something that you would want to live with for the rest of your life.
Right,
then
right.
I would then say saying goodbye would be the best option at that point.
Okay, so one thing though, some of these things that if there's a red flag, can the person change? Do you believe that?
Change is totally subjective to the individual who needs to change. Unfortunately, too often partners believe they can do things to change their partner.
That's it. That's
Right?
so important.
So we
That's
need
so
to
important.
let go of that thought that we can change an individual.
Right.
The individual needs to be the person that wants the change.
That is so important.
And
so,
the word
so
that you
important.
always hear that I can fix them.
Yes.
You don't have the word
Or
fix.
you can bring out the best,
Best in them.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
you
Yeah,
there.
you know,
Yes.
you in your head have
Yes.
this imaginary soulmate,
Yeah.
and you're trying to find somebody to
Yeah.
mold into that soulmate. But reality is, we need to take people where they are.
Yeah.
Whatever they are
100%.
presenting to you, that's who they are.
So try and fall in love with the person and not the
Right
potential.
before you, not the potential. The potential is not reality.
Wow.
It might never happen.
Wow.
Oh, that one is deep.
No,
Yeah,
that is
it might
deep.
never happen.
That one
it
is
might
deep.
never happen.
Yes.
All right, so Doc, here's what I'm going fast in the business a little bit. When you were dating, what were some red flags that you looked out for at that
Well,
time?
for me, value system was important to me at
Value.
the time. I did believe that person should be honest. They should be forthright.
Yes.
They should be willing to discuss their past.
100%.
Right? So those were some key red flags for me.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Well, Dr. De Silva, thank you so much for coming today, and just coming and sharing your thoughts with us. We have, before you go though, we have 4 persons that we want to, hear from what they consider red flags, and we just want to hear your feedback on it.
A red flag for me is when someone is just not on the same wavelength as you, especially when it comes to your values or the timelines and goals that you have in your life. For example, if you want to get married and the person doesn't want to get married, it's probably not the person for you. Or if you want to have babies and he doesn't, probably not the person for you. So just having similar visions for the family that you want to have, the kind of relationship that you want to have is super important.
So, a red flag for me while dating is if they threaten to break up after every argument. Like, a relationship is not easy, but if you both want it to work, trust that it will work. For any reason you feel like you're walking on eggshells whenever things go left, then it's time for you to make the right decision and get out.
So, one big pet peeve / red flag for me, especially in the beginning of a relationship, is inconsistency. If someone is interested in you, they'll make the effort to speak to you, to reach out to you, to check in on you, to see how you're doing, and to try and see you. And if you're seeing inconsistency in their ability to do that and to reciprocate the effort that you are putting, then that for me is just a huge red flag and not something that I would want to see.
The biggest red flag for me in dating is the unwillingness to see things from your partner's perspective. If you're unwilling to compromise, see things from the perspective, understand where somebody else is coming from, then it is a guarantee that when you actually get into arguments, there are going to be wars. So for me, biggest red flag, unwillingness to see it from your partner's perspective.
All right, so Dr. De Silva, what do you think about those videos and that feedback that they gave?
Well, Alwyn, as I listen to those individuals, one of the things that I believe was a common thread is the whole aspect of values.
Right.
Right? Persons are speaking about the traits and the qualities they would want to see their partner exhibit in a relationship. So that's all about values.
Nice.
You know, so as I said, value was one of my big red flags.
Yeah.
You don't want to be involved with someone where you're going to be arguing daily about some basic issues in the relationship. How you do marriage, roles in marriage,
Yes.
how you respond to me, how you communicate with me. Those are really fundamental.
All right. So,
Yes.
Dr. Da Silva, thanks again for coming and sharing your thoughts and experiences with us. And guys, if you want to reach out and get some more information from Dr. Da Silva, you can contact her for her services. You can find her on Instagram at Dr. Karen Da Silva or her email at drkarendasilva@gmail.com. Her number is also on the screen, so you can always reach out to her.
So the first 5 persons to like and subscribe and email us at adviseme@totallythorpe.com will get 10% off their first session with Dr. Da Silva. So hurry up. So to conclude today's episode, we have put together a list of red flags to look out for when you're dating. First, not being allowed to have an opinion.
If they are discouraging you to speak up and you feel like you don't have a voice.
If you find yourself being afraid when your date gets angry, that's definitely a red flag,
Yeah, seriously.
for sure.
Always being put down by your partner.
That's for sure.
Yeah,
That's
man.
something that you have to look out for.
Yeah, man, that's serious.
Low self-esteem. If you find yourself having low self-esteem around your date all the time, then something might be wrong. Or even that person having a low self-esteem all the time.
Physical and emotional abuse. And of course, Dr. Silva mentioned about that earlier.
Yes, for
about
sure.
the possessiveness.
Yes. Lack of trust. And you know, this one is a big one for me.
Yeah.
I tell you, my gut feeling, if it's not giving me that thing that I need and I feel that sketchy feeling, it's not going anywhere for me. Trust is a big one.
Yeah, man. Narcissistic patterns. Right? They make everything about themselves.
True.
That's definitely something to look out for.
And it's easy to hide,
Yeah?
It's easy to hide, yeah. You have to dig deep to see that one for sure. And controlling patterns, as Dr. Da Silva mentioned as well,
Yeah.
just wanting to control you speaking to your friends, who do you talk to, controlling your every move, that is a flag for sure.
Yeah, man. Extreme jealousy.
Oh, yes.
So of course you know that we get a little jealous from time to time,
Yeah,
but
which is
extreme
normal.
jealousy causes some serious problems in the relationship.
Right. And this one now, guys, never apologizing. Like, you have persons, you're in a relationship, and no matter what they do to you, they know they're wrong, but they never ever apologize to you for anything that they've done to you. That's a red flag.
Now this one for me is a red flag in any kind of relationships, even friendships, is when they criticize you in jokes.
Yes.
So
that's
instead
a
of being
one.
straightforward and saying, hey, you hear some little jokes and it really feels a little bit condescending. Now those are just some of the things that we believe are red flags. Guys, share what you think are red flags in the comment section. We want to know what those are.
Yes.
Now don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and if you found value in this video, please like and share it. Again, guys, we want to know what red flags are for you in relationships, so share that, put them in the comments.
And stay tuned, guys, because in this new season, we have so much to share.
Yeah.
From money matters, such as budgeting, owning your own home, and creating new perspectives on money, to all matters of the heart. Trust me, you guys don't want to miss it. You're going to love it.
Until next time.
Bye.